Welcome to the Movie Sekai. Discover the magic of cinema with our captivating film recaps and insights. Join us as we explore unforgettable stories and hidden gems. In the opening scene, a man named Jack pulls up at a gas station in a 1989 silver Volkswagen Rabbit and enters the convenience store. Inside, a woman is browsing magazines while Jack buys a candy bar and a lottery ticket. They make brief eye contact just as a police car arrives, and two cops walk in, making Jack nervous. A problem with the cash register causes the woman and the officers to line up before Jack can leave. Suddenly, the police radio reports that a 1989 silver Volkswagen Rabbit has been stolen, and the officers immediately suspect Jack. To escape, Jack grabs the woman and, pretending his candy bar is a gun, threatens the police not to draw their weapon. He orders the cashier to take the officers' guns and hand them to him. Once armed, Jack tells everyone to lie on the ground as he drags the woman out to her car and speeds away. Meanwhile, a few blocks away, a film producer and his cameraman are filming a police documentary with Officer Dobbs and Officer Fegus in their patrol car. They hear a radio report about a hijacked red BMW with an armed and dangerous man holding a woman hostage. Dobbs and Fegus, being nearby, start the pursuit. Inside the BMW, Jack asks the woman, who is whimpering, to grab the wheel while he removes his jacket. He assures her he'll let her go once it's safe, but she continues to whimper uncontrollably. Jack is using a cigarette lighter while asking Natalie how she can afford such an expensive car. She, still crying, tells him her father gave it to her. Suddenly, Natalie grabs the lighter and burns Jack on the neck. Jack yells at her, and in the chaos, the lighter falls onto the seat, causing smoke to fill the car. Dobbs and Fegus see them and start a high-speed chase. Dobbs comments for the documentary, saying that losing sight of the BMW could mean never finding Natalie again. Amid the chase, the producer asks Dobbs and Fegus what they like most about being cops. Dobbs says it makes him feel like Bruce Springsteen and Sylvester Stallone, which he enjoys. Inside the BMW, Natalie tells Jack she feels sick and wants him to slow down. Jack explains that they can't slow down during a chase and tells her to stick her head out the window. She does, throws up, and accidentally hits Dobbs's and Fegus's car. Fegus asks for backup, but is told that all other cars are at a captain's funeral. Back at the police station, Chief Boyle learns the car belongs to Natalie Voss, the daughter of the richest man in California. He orders that they need 20 cars to chase her, even using cars from the funeral. Dobbs tells the producer that they've hit the jackpot today. Jack informs Natalie that they're heading to Mexico to escape, and she screams for him to let her out. As they hit the freeway, the stakes rise, and Dobbs becomes more frustrated. A news reporter covering a different story spots a dramatic chase from a helicopter and starts broadcasting it live. The chase leads them to a medical school truck that's swerving wildly, causing cadavers to spill onto the freeway. One of the cadavers lands on Dobbs's car, and Fegus tries to remove it. Meanwhile, Natalie keeps screaming, and Jack is having near heart attacks every time. Natalie asks Jack to put away his gun, but he refuses at first. Jack explains he's nicer without the gun, but Natalie doesn't believe him. A police helicopter joins the chase. Jack can't understand why everything always goes wrong for him. Natalie suggests he might be causing his own problems. Jack tries to introduce himself, saying his name is Jack. Natalie refuses to tell him her name until he puts away the gun, which he finally does. She tells him her name is Natalie Voss. Jack is shocked, realizing that the police will now think he kidnapped her for ransom money from her wealthy father, Dalton Voss. Natalie doesn't believe Jack didn't know who she was. Jack panics, trying to convince himself he didn't actually kidnap anyone, but Natalie reminds him she was abducted. The news reports that Natalie Voss is in the car and the kidnapping is likely for ransom. At the police station, Dalton Voss arrives with his new wife, angrily confronting Chief Boyle. They soon find footage of Jack and learn he's an escaped convict from a bank robbery. Dobbs and Fegus hear this, and Dobbs says it's bad news, but the producer is thrilled, thinking it's great for the broadcast. The police describe Jack as a dangerous lunatic. Seeing the police preparing their guns, Jack shoots a tire on a police car, causing it to flip over. People are guessing that Jack is an ex-Marine because he has good aim, but Jack is surprised he even hit anything since he didn't mean to shoot. He tells Natalie that he hates violence, but she thinks he is the epitome of it. Jack gets angry, grabs her wrist, and insists that he's driven to violence, not a violent person. Natalie calms down and asks who Jack really is. Jack says he was wrongly convicted of a crime and that the system didn't believe him. He doesn't expect her to either, which she confirms. Then, the car's phone rings. Chief Boyle tells Jack to pull over, but Jack refuses. Dalton takes over and threatens Jack if he harms Natalie, but Jack has Natalie tell her father she's okay. Dalton offers $50,000 for Natalie's safe return, but Jack says he doesn't want money. Dalton starts blaming Natalie for her kidnapping, and she apologizes. Jack gets furious and tells Dalton he shouldn't blame his daughter for being kidnapped, and that he should be ashamed for making her feel worse. Jack then hangs up. Natalie is shocked by Jack's actions, saying no one has ever talked to her father like that. Jack explains that everyone wants something from Dalton, including Natalie. She denies it, but Jack realizes she wants to be treated as an adult by her father, not as a child. Natalie admits this is true, and also shares that she hates her stepmother, who married Dalton for his money, and her real mother, who is more of a friend than a mother. Jack's attorney spots him on the news and calls Chief Boyle to get the BMW's phone number to reach Jack. The news speculates that Natalie must be scared and tied up in the car, but inside, Jack and Natalie are singing along to the radio. Suddenly, the phone rings. It's Jack's attorney, Ari, who says they can fix things if Jack pulls over. Jack refuses, but thanks Ari for always believing in him. Natalie hears this and starts feeling sorry for Jack. Then, the phone rings again. This time, it's a reporter from Channel 9 asking what Jack will do when he runs out of gas. Jack angrily tells him off and smashes the phone. Meanwhile, a SWAT team is being sent to the Mexican border. In the car, Natalie offers Jack a piece of gum and asks why he's running. Jack explains that he used to be a clown for kids' parties. One day, while he was at home watching baseball, someone robbed a bank dressed as a clown. A neighbor tipped off the police, who found Jack's clown suit and arrested him. Ari told him innocent people don't go to jail, but he was wrong. Suddenly, a monster truck tries to sideswipe them but flips over. The drivers escape just before the truck explodes. Meanwhile, Ari is interviewed about Jack's case. He explains that the real robber left blood at the scene, which was type A. Jack's blood type is B+, but the evidence was dismissed due to mishandling. Back in the car, Natalie asks Jack when he was sentenced. He says it was yesterday. She realizes this is why he stole a car and grabbed her when the cops arrived. Natalie tells Jack she believes his story now. Meanwhile, Dobbs is rambling, telling the producer that he has almost telepathic abilities and considers himself a prophet, since he can almost predict someone's crime before they even commit it. Figgis looks at Dobbs like he is insane. Suddenly, a news van pulls up alongside the BMW to get a glimpse of Natalie's condition, but the cameraman accidentally drops the camera as the driver swerves to avoid a crash. Later, Natalie tells Jack she's had her fair share of boyfriends, but they all turned out to be losers. Natalie also reveals she thinks she's a mess, but Jack immediately assures her he could tell right away she was a sophisticated woman when they made eye contact at the gas station. She comments on their first interaction, saying Jack pressed his gun too hard into her back. Jack explains there was never any gun, just a candy bar, and shows it to her. Natalie starts laughing, and they share the candy together. While the news mentions how easy it is to forget that Natalie must be absolutely terrified inside the car, we see Natalie caring for Jack's burn on his neck, apologizing to him. Natalie then says she's never met anyone quite like Jack before, asking if he has a wife or girlfriend, to which he replies he doesn't. She then starts kissing him, saying she's falling in love. She climbs over and sits on Jack's lap, kissing him passionately while he's driving. Figgis notes there are 10 miles to the border, and Dobbs asks rhetorically and irritably why Jack is swerving so much on the road. 9 miles later, the sun has set, and Natalie suggests that Jack should extort her father so they can cross the border and live a comfortable life together. Jack says it might work, and Natalie tells him happily this is all very romantic. They arrive at the border, and Jack has to slam the brakes to avoid crashing into the loaders. As he comes to a halt, he quickly reverses and turns around to drive against the traffic. Chief Boyle is furious as the police are in chaos. Jack drives off the road, through a gate, and into an oil field, with Natalie laughing ecstatically. The police follow and end up driving in circles. News commentators hope Jack is put away for a long time for messing with the cops. Jack asks Natalie if she's serious about running away with him. She is, excited to become fugitives. But then Jack stops the car, and the police surround them. Dobbs and Figgis get out, yelling for Jack to step out of the car. Jack tells Natalie he cares too much about her to ruin her life, making her sad. Jack puts his gun in Natalie's purse, thanks her for believing in him, and tells her to walk away. She sheds a tear as Jack kisses her hand, then steps out. Figgis leads her behind a police car, telling her she's lucky to be alive. Dobbs hopes Jack tries something so he can shoot him. Jack lights a cigarette in the car and thinks about the day's events. The kidnapping at the convenience store, the car crashes, the explosions, and Natalie. He imagines getting out with one hand behind his back, forming a pistol with his hand, and pointing it at the police. They shoot him, and he falls to the ground bleeding. But then, it turns out he imagined everything. Instead, Jack gets out with his hands in the air and lets the police arrest him, while Dobbs tells him how much he'd like to kill him. Dalton arrives and punches Jack in the face. A documentary producer and cameraman film everything with excitement. Natalie tells Dalton that Jack is innocent, but he ignores her. Natalie sees the producer and cameraman, picks up the gun from her purse, fires a shot in the air to get everyone's attention, and takes the producer hostage, telling the police to free Jack. As the cops try to stop her, she shoots at a helicopter, blowing it up to show she's serious. They reluctantly uncuff Jack, and the two hijack a news channel helicopter. Dalton is speechless as he watches them take off, and Jack's lawyer Ari laughs, watching everything on TV. In the last scene, Jack and Natalie are sunbathing on a beach in Mexico, enjoying their time together. The end.